Good morning, gang. What's going on? Getting my second half, the cardio portion of the morning workout done. It's actually, feels like it's in the 60s right now. Weather's perfect. It's better than doing this thing 85, 90 degrees in the morning. So it doesn't feel like I'm in Sudan right now, which is good. So, but want to go over the trade deadline. And why do I have a shit-eating grin on my face? Right? Good morning, everybody. And you let me know, folks, what you thought, what you think too. Brian Cashman. There were a lot of folks, right, that said Hank is never going to win the Cashman boom, blah, blah, blah. That's a repeated argument all the time, right, from the fair weather fans. Fine. A lot of fans here been repeated saying Cashman's going to do nothing. He's asleep. Good morning, chat. Good morning. Man, Cashman's asleep. He's in a sleeping bag. He didn't do anything, man. Nothing at all. Right. Okay. They needed a third baseman. They got Ryan McMahon. Right. Good morning. They needed to improve their bench and their ability to hit lefties. Right. Which was another fair criticism. They got Ahmed Rosario and Austin Slater. And that wasn't even yesterday. Yesterday was nuts. I was live for like 8 hours. And I had to thank you to the guests that came on. You guys were great. We brought in all the moves that came in. Yeah, and yesterday, what was the biggest frustration of fans? And it was very justified. Is the bullpen was decimated, right? Yeah. One. So, well, it looks like they learned from the Juan Soto trade, right? About trading for guys who don't have any controllable years beyond the year that you're trading them for. Because they brought in David Bednar from the Pirates, who's got control through 2026. Then they brought in Jake Bird from the Rockies, who's got control through 2028. And Camilo Duvall from the Giants, who's got control through 2028. Right? 3 controllable relievers. All high-end arms. And then, in the last hour, they make a trade with the Tampa Bay Rays for Jose Caballero, one of the fastest guys in the game, the American League leader in stolen bases, right? As a utility guy. So, we didn't have a bench, and now we have like an elite bench, okay? And we also have Luis Hill coming back, Ryan Yarbrough coming back, Fernando Cruz coming back. So, as well as Aaron Judge at some point. So we have reinforcements coming back. But Brian Cashman's grade yesterday for the trade deadline is a big fat A for me. A. Even though, and I know some fans say, well, he didn't get a starting pitcher. Well, guess what? Nobody got a starting pitcher that moved the needle. Nobody. You know, teams that we may have thought were going to sell, like the Marlins, maybe they're keeping their guys, right? Because they got something on there. They didn't trade Sandy Alcantara or Edward Cabrera. The Twins didn't trade Joe Ryan, even though they traded half the freaking team, right? So, and I got to give a shout out to the Mets too for pivoting also. The price is way too high in the starting pitching world. So the Mets added 3 relievers, just like the Yankees did. And they also added Cedric Mullins. The Yankees had dynamic players across the board. They got more athletic. Jose Caballero has also got 5 years of control. And that was crazy because they traded him mid-game yesterday. Tampa Bay Rays. You saw him in the dugout hugging his teammates. And then coming over to the Yankee side. Yeah. No. And I got to give a shout out to Hector too from Uptown Sports, because he was even giving us some intel on yesterday when he came on the trade deadline for a little while about, you know, the Marlins-Yankees talks. A lot of them revolved around Jason Dominguez and Will Warren for either Sandy Alcantara or Edward Cabrera. The Marlins are asking for both, right? Which is a big ask for guys that have had an injury history, starting pitchers, right? But big arms. Then the Marlins were going to add an outfield prospect who eventually got traded to the Astros. Jesus Sanchez, I think his name was. And then the Yankees asked them, well, we're going to do that. We need you to take Marcus Stroman's contract. The rest of it. The Marlins balked. Trade fell apart. Never got rekindled, right? They were still talking. Then they started asking for Spencer Jones. The Yankees were like, no. And the Yankees made it clear yesterday, there's only one player in the game they're going to trade Spencer Jones for, and that's Paul Skeens. So, right from the Yankees. So the Yankees did a lot better than I thought they were going to do at the trade deadline, right? I understand fans were concerned, but to the Cashman haters, I think it might be a good idea to, at the very least, recognize what he did yesterday. I know guys on foul territory say the Cashman deserves an apology from the fans. Yeah, I think ego's not going to let a lot of people do that, right? And I don't really care about that. But recognizing what he did and recognize that the Yankees just put their heads down, buckling through all the talking points and the hornet's nest and the narratives and the BS on social media. They made this team a lot better yesterday. Now, again, they still have to perform. They have to stay healthy, right? But I have a clearer vision now of a potential clearer path to the World Series for the Yankees. Now, the Astros got better, too. They brought Carlos Correa. They almost had Dylan Cease, but that trade fell apart. And that other trade for Julio Urias from the Baltimore Orioles, apparently he was crying and didn't want to report. And I still don't know if he reported or not. He didn't want to leave. He wanted to stay with Orioles and get an extension. So, and he was trying to veto the trade yesterday, which is crazy. But I'll have some more details on that later. But, gang, let me know what your thoughts are. How did Cashman do? How did the Yankees do yesterday? Yesterday was nuts. It was like a trade every minutes. And again, thank you to Ken, The Ugly Truth. Thank you to Jonathan for coming on. Thank you for Hector coming on. Right? And I went on Hector afterward. He was recapping that. I was supposed to go on Bronx Talks too, but I lost power in the storm yesterday. So kind of threw a monkey wrench into a lot of the rest of the day stuff. So, but it is what it is. Giving the Yankees an A. Giving Brian Cashman an A. Right? Doesn't need to be A+. I don't really care. They made the team a hell of a lot better. And again, they saw the prices for starting pitching being way too high. So what did they do? They added 3 high-end relief pitchers. Now they don't have to overuse Tim Hill. And they've already optioned out, if you haven't heard, Yerry De Los Santos and Ian Hamilton, they got optioned out to AAA already. So there's still another move. And they traded Oswald Peraza to the Angels. So Jose Caballero is an even swap for Peraza, but there's still one more, if I'm not mistaken, one more roster spot they need to clear for the third reliever, probably Camilo Doval. So, which they'll do. It'll probably be Johnny Loizaga. I don't know, it'll be someone else. So, and now they've got some 40-man roster spots to clear up a little bit too, because they have guys like Aaron Judge coming back and some of the guys that are on the 60-day IL who won't be back this year, who aren't on the 40-man, but you have some other guys that will be back too. So they have a couple roster moves they're going to need to make soon for Luis Hill and Aaron Judge, but he's already on the 40. So stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for that. But what do you think, gang? What do you think, y'all? I'm happy with what the Yankees did. Again, like I said, I can't be more clear. Wow, a tree fell down. What the hell? They need to perform and stay healthy, right? This needs to translate on the field for the Yankees. But they addressed the biggest needs. The biggest one was the bullpen. And boy, did they address it, right? Say what you want about Cashman. He silenced a lot of the haters. I want to see where people are saying he's going to be dumpster diving this, dumpster diving that. Because especially after the first trade, right? So, David Bednar, why? And then if you look at now the top 30 prospects, I looked at it this morning, all the catchers that were in the top 30 prospects are gone. They traded away, I think, 3 catchers yesterday that were in the top 30. Jesus Rodriguez, Rafael Flores, and Ed Gleen Perez, I think. They traded 2 catchers to the Pirates for Bednar. Then they sent Jesus Rodriguez to the Giants for Duvall. And then they sent Rafael Flores to the Rockies, if I'm not mistaken, for Jake Bird. So, and they still have a lot of catchers. I mean, they didn't trade Scara. They didn't trade Trent Grisham. A lot of the guys that were valuable assets to this major league team, they kept. And the fact is, too, they added all these guys yesterday, and they didn't trade a single prospect in the top 5. Not one. Spencer Jones is still here. George Lombard's still here. Jason Dominguez is still here, right? Cam Schlittler's still here. Ben Hess still here. Bryce Cunningham's still here. Roderick Arias still here. They got all that yesterday without giving up. I mean, the Phillies gave up number 4 and number 6 for Juan Duran. The Padres gave up number 1 and then 3 pitching prospects for Mason Miller. And that's a big trade. And I think the Dodgers look more vulnerable now than they did before. I was expecting the Dodgers to kind of do a pivot trade yesterday to respond to the Padres. They didn't. They actually lost Dustin May to the Red Sox. People thought the Red Sox were going to sign Joe Ryan. They got Dustin May instead. So, and the Red Sox also got the night before Steven Matz. So, they added a relief arm. They added a starter yesterday. And the Red Sox are already good. So, the Rays got Everson Pereira in an even swap with the Yankees for Caballero. So, but the only player in the Major League roster that the Yankees traded yesterday was Oswald Peraza. Good luck to him. I wish him well on the Angels. Hopefully he'll get an opportunity to play every day. And that he did not get here. That I wish he did get, but he didn't. So, but good morning, gang. How y'all feeling this morning? And once I get to pivot over there, I'll be able to slow it down and take a look at the comments. But I'm feeling much better this morning than I did yesterday morning. Even though I was happy with the moves that the Yankees made prior to yesterday. They addressed the bench. They addressed the versatility and the ability to hit lefties. And they got a third baseman beyond this year. And I got to have a shout out to the Reds, too. They made a couple good trades. They got Brian Hayes, Zach Littell, the pitcher that pitched against the Yankees the night before. They traded him during the game, too. So, in the last 2 games, the Rays traded away 2 of their players during the game, which is crazy. Willie Castro from the Twins went to the Cubs. I thought they would do more. I thought the Brewers were going to do more. The Brewers actually traded Nestor Cortez to the Padres. So the Padres added Nestor Cortez, J.P. Sears. They also added Mason Miller. Then they went and did a trade with the Orioles, and they got Ryan O'Hearn and Ramon Laureano. Padres not going to let the Dodgers walk away with this. I don't think the Phillies are either. The Phillies also got Harrison Bader for the outfield. They got their bat, and the Mets got their versatile veteran outfielder bat too with Cedric Mullins from the Orioles. So the Orioles traded away a lot of pieces. Twins traded away a lot of pieces. The Diamondbacks traded away a lot of pieces. That's what I'm looking for too now. The American League West. With the additions that the Mariners made, Suarez and Josh Naylor, they get a high grade for the deadline, but the Astros brought back Carlos Correa, right? That's going to make it harder for the Mariners in the American League West. They know Correa, and the Twins are eating a chunk of the money too. So the Astros are getting them on like a discount, which is crazy, but there's also vesting options that I don't think the Astros are going to exercise, because I don't think Correa is going to hit them. So the Astros essentially got Correa back on a discount for the next 3 years. And he's a clutch player and obviously elite defender and a solid offensive bat. And the Astros added that. Unfortunately, they didn't add Dylan Cease. That trade fell through. But They got better. They had 2 bats. No, and they're already a tough team. But gang, all right, let me slow down here. What do y'all think? Yeah, the Twins cleaned house. The Mariners also not the Mariners. The Diamondbacks also traded Merrill Kelly to the Texas Rangers, so they added an arm. Solid trade for the Rangers. I don't think the Rangers traded away anybody. Adolis Garcia stayed. There was some chatter about him being traded yesterday. That didn't happen. They didn't trade DeGrom. They didn't trade Eovaldi. But they added a starting pitcher to Eovaldi, to DeGrom, to Kumar Rocker, to Jack Leiter. So they added, and he's playoff tested too, Merrill Kelly. So their rotation got better yesterday, the Texas Rangers. But again, they're going to be competing against the Mariners and the Astros in the same division, so I don't know how that's going to fare for them. But shout out to everybody in the chat. Make sure you tap the thumbs up if you don't mind. Good morning, y'all. Yeah. Shane Bieber, Blue Jays. The Blue Jays also added Sir Anthony Dominguez from the Orioles. But I think beyond that, I'm not sure they added anybody else. And Shane Bieber, I mean, he hasn't pitched since 2024, so it's a risky get, but it's a worthwhile risk. They didn't overpay significantly for him, so that's an ad for him, a value ad for the Blue Jays. So not bad. They added a reliever and a starter, and they're in first place, so there's that as well. But the Yankees, I'll say this, and this is in all due respect to the Blue Jays, Yankees got better, a hell of a lot more than the Blue Jays got better the last couple days. So Brian Cashman not playing around. Despite all the hate he gets, despite all the heat he gets, and blah, 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 he ain't playing around. I think he showed that yesterday with all the guys that he got and the guys that he got the last couple days. They added 7 guys, major league guys, and didn't give up a single top 5 prospect. Not one. All right? That's masterclass right there. Right? Say what you want about Brian Cashman. That's masterclass. Louis Hill, kind of we're all saying that was the talking point yesterday too, right? They're gonna say, Brian Cashman's gonna say that acquiring Louis Hill and Fernando Cruz and Aaron Judge back is gonna be their deadline. He never said that. The talking point people said that yesterday. The narratives people on social media and Twitter, right? Brian Cashman didn't say that. He buckled down and he added 7 players, despite all the BS that people have been peddling over the last week about the trade deadline. Oh. See this? Shit-eating grin, okay? This is not to rub it in to the haters. This is to give credit to Brian Cashman. Kudos to Brian Cashman for doing what he did. I know it's not easy to do. And that went right down to the wire. I mean, they got Caballero from the Rays, I don't know, 550? 15 minutes before the deadline, something like that. Crazy. But he got him. And that one I did not expect. I said, okay, he addressed the bullpen. I was thinking he was going to try and get a starting pitcher, which he was. That wasn't happening, so he pivoted immediately to the Rays and got a speedy, dynamic playmaker who's a utility guy with 5 years of control. He's got all these controllable years for these players now. So that's good. That's really, really good. Yeah, Bednar, Camilo Duvall, and again, none of these guys have ever worked with Matt Blake, right? Who has a tendency to help guys lower their ERAs. People were saying yesterday, look at Jake Bird's ERA in the last 2 weeks. Okay. This guy's got a huge arm. Nasty off-speed stuff, which will translate better at sea level than it did in altitude, right? And he's got 100-mile-an-hour stuff. Bednar, flamethrower. Duvall, flamethrower, right? The Yankees needed strikeout stuff in the bullpen, right? They added 3 of them yesterday. The Padres got 1 Mason Miller. We got 3 guys. 3. So, yeah, I'm happy. Kudos to the other teams for doing what they did. But I'm real happy about what the Yankees did. And again, being happy with the Yankees is not taking shots at other teams. Right? Other teams got better yesterday. There's no doubt about it. Yeah. Yeah, gang. Yeah, Jonathan. I got to thank Jonathan. He spent the last couple hours with me. We were. This wasn't it a frenzy yesterday, Jonathan? We were like, what the hell's going on here? Every 5 minutes, another trade was being reported. We were like, yo, we must have reported, I don't know, 20 trades in the last hour or something like that, which is nuts. Absolutely crazy. No. And again, I give these guys a little bit of time. There's an adjustment period that comes with the Yankees. But again, it's not like one guy with huge expectations. The Yankees got a bunch of guys. Okay, now they can give Tim Hill a little bit of a break. They don't have to overuse him, right? They can give Johnny Loizaga, if he stays, a little bit of a breather. You know, some of these other guys too. But if you haven't heard, they optioned out Yuri De Los Santos and Ian Hamilton to AAA. There's one more roster move that needs to be made for the third reliever, which will happen today. They're in Miami now to face the Marlins, the team that they tried to make a trade with but didn't. So, and it was mainly the asking prices for Alcantara and Edward Cabrera. And the prices went from Jason Dominguez and Will Warren to Spencer Jones. Those were the prices yesterday that the Marlins were asking for those pitchers. So, just as a heads up, that's what they were asking for. Yo, Kim, what do you know, my man? No needle-moving starter moved yesterday. Joe Ryan stayed. The Marlins pitcher stayed, right? Zach Allen stayed. All the big arms. I can't even think. Dylan Cease stayed. All those guys, none of them moved. None of them, because the asking prices were way too high. We found out, like, right at the deadline that the asking price for Joe Ryan from the Twins, because the Red Sox were pushing hard to get him, they were not even close to being the ask and the offer. So it was a huge disconnect. So they didn't get Joe Ryan. Good. They got Dustin May instead. Good. Merrill Kelly moved to the Texas Rangers. Yeah, Jonathan. Yankees, like I said, they didn't lose not one top 5 prospect. Jones is here. Dominguez is here. Schlittler's here, right? Yes, they didn't trade Stanton, but you never know. He could get DFA'd now. He could. With the adds to the bullpen and with once Luis Hill comes back, because that's another roster move they're going to have to make, they could DFA Stanton. Stroman, not Stanton. Well, this is true too. Yeah, we didn't lose. Our best prospect that we gave up was number 8, which is Rafael Flores, which sent to the San Francisco Giants for Camilo Doval. Yep. Yeah, look, I know the Red Sox fans are frustrated to get Ryan. We didn't get him either. So the price was way too high. And the Minnesota Twins tried. They traded the rest of the team. Castro to the Cubs. Correa back to the Astros, right? They traded Luis Varland away yesterday too. If I remember correctly, did he go to Tigers? Maybe the Tigers. Charlie Morton went to the Tigers. They also traded away Griffin Jacks to the Tampa Bay Rays. So the Rays made a couple sneaky good moves, and the Rays got Everson Pereira for Jose Caballero, came to the Yankees. Flores, actually, you might be right. Flores went to the Pirates, and Jesus Rodriguez went to the Giants. You might be right on that. It's one or the other. One of them went to the Pirates, the other one went to the Giants. But I know the Yankees gave up 2 catching prospects for Bednar. They had 3 catching prospects in the top 30 prospects yesterday. They're all traded. Now I looked at the top 30 this morning. They don't have any catchers in the top 30 now. No. The Mets made 3 good moves. They added 4 actually. They added 3 relievers, which they needed. They did not add a starter, but I'm not surprised. So they pivoted to the bullpen. They added 3 relievers, and they got Cedric Mullins. So they got better too. Yep. Yeah, that's the Yankees made it clear yesterday. There's only one player in baseball that they would trade Trent Spencer Jones for, and it's Paul Skeens. Jonathan's been saying that for months now. I agree. Okay, so Flores went for Bednar. Okay, thank you, Warlifer. Jesus went for Doval. And Ed Glean Perez, I think his name was, He also went with Flores to Pirates for Bednar. They sent 2 catching prospects to the Pittsburgh. Yep. Yeah, Twins, pretty much the entire bullpen. John Duran gone, Griffin Jack's gone, Louis Varland gone. They are embarking on a huge rebound. But they got Mick Abel from the Phillies. They got a good haul back for John Duran. And they got the number 4 prospect for the Phillies to a catcher. So they got good value. Yes, they do, Jonathan. Yep. Yeah, Jack's to the Yankees, but I can't complain. They got Camilo Doval. He's got control through 2028. So does Jake Bird. And Bednar's got control through 2026. So now it makes it easier. If they lose Devin Williams and if they lose Luke Weaver to free agency, they have 3 guys in their place. 3. And my guess they're going to try to bring one of those guys back. Probably Luke Weaver. Devin Williams just doesn't, I don't know, for some reason doesn't look comfortable here, so, which is fine. Yeah, the Astros got better. They brought back a clutch player, Carlos Correa. There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it. Yeah, man. Yankees got some bulldogs in the bullpen, man. Bulldogs in the bullpen. And then Matt Blake has 3 good guys to work with now. 3 new guys. So, yeah. The Twins got a lot of prospect depth back. The Orioles got a lot of prospect back too. They got traded away O'Hearn, Mullins, Laureano. I know the Padres are in on Adley Rutschman yesterday. They didn't get him, but they got a catcher from somewhere. I forgot who they got. Padres were busy too. They're one of the winners of the trade deadline. No doubt about it. Padres, Mariners, Yankees, Mets, I think. Those are probably the 4 winners to me. Of the buyers. Yeah, Gallen wasn't moved, but he can move in free agency. My prediction is he's still going to sign with the Phillies. He's a Philadelphia guy. I think he's going to sign with the Phillies in free agency to replace Taijuan Walker. Twins, that's a good question, Ken. I don't know, but they added Charlie Morton. They added, I think, a couple of relievers too. So, yeah. Give volleyball depth. Exactly, Jimmy. Yeah, the Tigers' payroll is higher than it was the day before. So is the Yankees. The Yankees had some payroll too. Yeah, 6 pitching and 3 catching prospects. And again, look at all the guys that they got. Right? With the exception of Ryan McMahon, Rosario, Austin Slater, the 3 relievers yesterday, and Jose Caballero. All of them ARB or pre-ARB. Every single one of them. And Ryan McMahon's on a controllable contract, an affordable contract for 3 more years. 2 more years beyond this year. So, that's the only significant payroll that the Yankees added yesterday was Ryan McMahon. Well, a couple days ago. So, everybody else is cost-controllable players. It's a pretty damn good deadline for Brian Cashman. Masterclass. Griffin Herring, that's right. But he was also blocked too, Griffin Herring, so he was good. But they didn't trade away, Schlittler. They didn't trade away Chase Hampton. They didn't trade away none of the big dogs. LeGrand, they were asked about yesterday, but they didn't move any of them. And LeGrand now is number 2 in Yankees prospects now. Number 2. So I think Spencer Jones should be number 1. I think Lombard should be 4. I think it should be swapped, but it is what it is. It doesn't really matter now, anyway. McMahon just fits nicely here. And I love Rosario's energy. I hope he gets more playing time. And I love Austin Slater and the Caballero move. The Yankees just got so much more athletic and versatile and much better on the bench and much better hitting against lefties. Were some of the biggest criticisms of fans, right? Brian Cashman, man. Shout out to you, brother. Shout out to you. If you ever see this, mad props to you, Brian Cashman. Mad props. Yeah, Jones should be number 1. Yeah, they kept Cunningham. They kept Ben Hess. They kept LeGrand. All their big pitching prospects. All of them. Yeah. We'll see what happens with Bellinger now. They didn't trade Ben Rice either. Yo, Rice has been good with the Yankees. Now, if they move on from Paul Goldschmidt, Ben Rice can slide right into first base. So, Or he can stay in the outfield and Spencer Jones come to first base. But if, I mean not in the outfield, excuse me, Bellinger can go to, if Bellinger goes to first base. Now, that doesn't mean that they won't trade Rice in the offseason for like a big something. Doesn't mean that they won't do that, but I think that's going to revolve around whether they keep Bellinger or not. Now, there's still more questions to be asked, but Yankees answered a hell of a lot of them yesterday. So, but shout out to everybody in here. If you don't mind hitting the like button, I'm going to get going now. I'm going to go pick up today's my wife's birthday. So I'm going to go pick up some Starbucks for her and come back and get the kids ready for camp. So, taking her to the spa to get massages. So, shout out to all of you. Much love to you. I'll be back later on. I'm going to recap it all in greater detail on the channel itself. So, come and join me. And have a great day, everybody. Peace and love to all these. The trade deadline's over. A+, Brian Cashman. Let's go, Yankees.